has it very experienced with the game. And looks like we're just going to kick things off right away. Alex on the left, Jeff on the right. And we see Jeff starting a Rockruff over on his side.
He's playing Zoroark.
So Zoroark, Lycanroc.
So we saw Zoroark last game, and it looked just overpowering against in this exact same matchup.
Okay.
Jimmy ran over Connor with just early Lycanrocs that obliterated his board.
Well, one thing different from Jeff's list and Jimmy's list is in here. I don't think I see any Great Balls, so might not see any Great Balls this round.
It's a modern day tragedy, guys. the talk of the game was the army of Great Balls. Here, I think we talked about a little last game, that 4-4-2 kind of ball setup. He runs a 4-3-2 with 3 nest balls and 2 timer balls, and he's running the Apricorn Maker.
Does have the Apricorn Maker in his list.
It's interesting that Jeff kind of ended up at a kind of model of setting up without Bridget that we talked about a little bit last game.
We see a pretty good turn 1 there from Alex, getting a Slugma in play, getting a Trubbish down, starting with a Baby Buzzwole. About all you want to do with this deck, honestly. And Jeff's going to get things started. Looks like he had a couple nest balls in his hand. Going to start off here playing his first one, searching his deck, going to check his prizes. Something interesting to note, I suppose, is the fact he's playing a split of his Rockruffs. We actually see 2 Forbidden Light Rockruffs and also 1 of the Guardians Rising Rockruff.
Never know when you're going to want to corner a guy to death?
Yeah, corner is always just an option to... Like, it can just win you games, right, out of nowhere, unexpectedly. It's always a win condition, so Jeff in his deck building decided 1 corner Rockruff was worth the spot.
Corner is really good. The 10 hit points is just slightly better in a Buzzwole-dominated format, I feel like. But the fact that he wants to go with a 2-1 split, that's certainly a reasonable thing to do.
Yep, leaving himself with the option if he ever wanted to pull off.
Yeah, I mean, he could pull up a Slugma or a Macargo, and if Alex can't find a Guzma or one of his 2 switches, he's just going to chill.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see Jeff, first nest ball comes down, gets a Zorua. Second one finds another Fighting Energy attached to the active and a Cynthia. Really solid start, over on Jeff's side. 2 basics and an energy attachment already.
Yeah. Now, one difference between this and last game is both games Connor started the Trubbish. Starting a Buzzwole is a way better starter in this matchup.
Absolutely.
I mean, there were times where Connor was just sitting waiting for the Trubbish to get picked off. Or having to evolve to Garbodor and Trash Lance for 20 or 40 against a Zoroark. That's no way to start the game.
Not at all. Jeff's also going to be keeping track of his items, it looks like, over there on the right side. 2 items in the discard, those 2 nest balls. And we're just going to see a pass over onto Alex's side.
Just for the viewer's pleasure, those Lotads in the top of the board are representing our GX counters this game.
I think those are shiny Lotads as well, so...
You sure it's not just the sleeves?
I'm pretty sure it is shiny. I think some of those older sets had shiny Pokemon built into the set. And I think purple, I think Lotad's not normally purple, so that looks like a pretty expensive GX marker, probably. So 6 cards here on the Cynthia
Yeti
for
Gaming,
Alex.
Bringing the nicest of GX markers.
Absolutely. Has not used Smooth Over yet, can definitely use that this turn. Has an Ultra Ball in his hand, so we'll see what he wants to get with this. Might be eyeing up Diancie Prism Star. A really important card for these Buzzwole Garbodor decks is the Diancie Prism Star. If you're not using Diancie with the rotation of Strong Energy...
I didn't see what the other 3 cards are. I wonder if he could grab an Oranguru if he thought he could shed 1 more card and then smooth over to grab something off the...
potentially, for sure. Oranguru plus Magcargo is a solid draw engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Diancie is really important, though, because you need it to hit extra numbers, right? You're only going to hit 30 damage without it. But it looks like he's going to eye up the Sudowoodo with that Roadblock ability.
Interesting. I wonder where he's going with this. He's down to 2 cards. I assume he's got something delightful. He smooths over.
Yep.
So I assume there's a way to get it.
Or he might just be setting himself up for the next turn if he doesn't have a way to get it immediately.
Yeah.
He's got an energy to attack this turn. Looks like he's going to put the Beast Energy on top. So it might be... If he does have an Oranguru, he could get the knockout on this Rockruff this turn.
Yeah, Jeff, unlike what we saw last game, Jimmy, in addition to the 4 Great Balls, was running 4 Judges and just trying to judge people over and over again.
Sure.
We talked a little about how it was unconventional. Jeff has a much more conventional list of 1 judge.
Yeah.
So his opportunity to take over smooth overs when people just leave something on the top of their deck for next turn is very limited.
So we just see the Sledgehammer. It does only hit for 30 damage, but is going to set up that Rockruff to be knocked out next turn, and it also makes it a little bit easier to deal with a Lycanroc later on.
Yeah.
Timer Ball on Jeff's side. Looks like we do see...
It's a 6.
It's a 6, so should be 1
yes,
heads.
The logo side is the 6.
Looks like he's not searching his deck, though. Was it not a 6? It may not have been a 6.
Oh.
It looks like it was not a 6. Because
They must be using some other dice, because I know our standard dice apparently for the stream have the logo on the 6 side, which, as I discussed previously, I object to vehemently.
Yeah, I definitely prefer it on the 1 side, and that's like kind of standard, I think. But having him on the 6 is something people do from time to time as well.
Chip, I appreciate your validation.
Absolutely.
I gotta be honest, Michael didn't give me the same validation.
So we're going to see 6 cards here off the Cynthia. Looks like he did find a Lycanroc, so we can at least get an evolution to protect this Rockruff this turn. And he could even use Dangerous Rogue maybe to take a knockout on something. It does feel kind of bad to use Dangerous Rogue on a 1-prizer, but Alex is not playing a deck with any GX Pokemon. So we'll see here what Jeff wants to do. He's got the Lycanroc, debating playing it. I think he may have an Ultra Ball in his hand as well. Gonna go ahead and use the Bloodthirsty Eyes, brings up the Mag Cargo, gonna go ahead and just target that down. And I like this play from Jeff. You're gonna take away, like this deck has a hard time drawing a lot of cards, like having a consistent draw engine. Taking away the Mag Cargo seems really smart.
Yeah, now, certainly, so another difference we were talking about last game, Connor had this 1-2 Slugma Macargo line. Alex has a more traditional 2-2, so the fact that he knocked that out doesn't necessarily put him off anything. He can simply bench another Slugma and keep right on going.
I like this from Alex as well. He sent up the Buzzwole that didn't have an energy attached because he knew he was top decking the Beast Energy because he smoothed it over last turn.
Right.
So he's spreading his energy out. He can maybe try to set up for a Sledgehammer. This deck is, or excuse me, a swing around. This deck typically doesn't swing around too often, but he's leaving himself that option if he wants to later on.
Yeah.
By having his energy spread out.
Quick plays here.
So it looks like we just see a Sledgehammer. Does put that Lycanroc up to 120 damage on it.
He's going to need an energy and a Diancie if he wants to take a knockout here.
It does, yeah. Doesn't look like he has a Diancie in his list, but he does have 2 copies of Professor Kukui, which could also get him there. He does have an energy, so he has Ultra Ball. He could find Tapu Lele GX and get that Kukui if he wanted to get the knockout. But he may also just want to try to advance his board a bit here, get some Zoroark GXs in play. I mean, we're at turn 3, and he still doesn't have Zoroark GX out.
I know. I think even if he takes this knockout, he's going to get Sledgehammered in return.
Yeah.
If his board state's not more developed when that happens and he can't get off the Sledgehammer turn, it's going to be a long game.
Yeah, something important for Jeff is, like, when he goes into the Sledgehammer turn, he's going to want to make sure that he doesn't have a Zoroark active that's very easy for Alex to take a knockout on. Force Alex to find a Guzma, force him to use that to take out the Zoroark. But Alex has set himself up very well where if he does find a Guzma next turn, he can take out a Zoroark, and there's still the Lycanroc with 120 damage on it.
Yeah.
So set up pretty well here. Jeff searching his deck. Looks like he is going to eye up a Zoroark GX.
That's finding the Beast Energy definitely helped him out there. You know, another thing we never saw Connor able to do was take advantage of Sledgehammer turns in a meaningful way.
Sure.
And be in a situation where he could KO Lycanrocs. Like there were situations. I think both games Jimmy was able to bring up a Lycanroc, have Diancie on the bench, knock out a Buzzwole, and the Lycanroc was clean. And it was like, well, that Lycanroc's going to kill a lot of Buzzwoles.
Yeah. Absolutely. We see the Zoroark come out. Looks like we're going to see a Mallow here, so Trade can find him any 2 cards out of his deck he wants. What do you think he's going to put on top here?
I assume another Zoroark.
Yeah, he wants to maybe keep some trades going.
And maybe another Pokemon. He just needs, his board state just needs more. I know he needs the energy.
No, he definitely does need an energy card this turn. He did Ultra Ball one away, I think. Or he had it in his hand. He was debating Ultra Balling it, so I think he does have one.
I mean, if he just he doesn't KO this Buzzwole, it's just going to hit for 90 with the Beast Energy and KO him. It seems like...
There's the energy card. There's the Enhanced Hammer.
Oh, so that's nice.
Pretty nice here. Gonna just go ahead and hit for 110. So it's kind of interesting. He had a Tapu Lele in his hand. He could have gone for the Kukui knockout, but he doesn't want to give Alex Sledgehammer just yet. I think he wanted to have a little more control over his game.
Yeah. He's not ready for the Sledgehammer turn.
So with 6 items in the discard pile, though, Trash Avalanche will be able to knock out this Lycanroc that has 120 damage on it. And Alex is going to save that Buzzwole that has a lot of damage. And Jeff's going to need to find a full bench of Pokemon in order to knock out this Garbodor with Riotous Beating. And then if he does take the knockout with Riotous Beating, he's going to have a Zoroark active going into Alex's Sledgehammer turn. So kind of a tough setup here at this point for Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff has just developed his board much more slowly than Jimmy was with the Army of Great Balls.
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it, guys. Great Ball might be a thing now.
We'll find out in Game 2 if that's RNG or not, people.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Alex plays the Nest Ball, does fail it. I think he did have a Trubbish in his hand. May want to go ahead and bench that.
Yeah.
Looks like he has Rescue Stretcher as well, so he can get the Mad Cargo.
So does that mean that Deancey's prized? Because I assume he would have said, why don't I get the Deancey out before my Sledgehammer turn?
Yeah,
although, I don't know how much it changes
it looks like
the numbers.
it is right there. I think he, okay, so what he's doing here, he wants the Trubbish in play if his active Garbodor gets knocked out, but it looks like he's debating putting the Deancey on top with Smoothover, which means he would be able to top deck it, and he would have access to it during his Sledgehammer turn.
Yeah, he's
really
debating the Garb versus the Deancey here.
Sure.
It looks like, did he choose the Deancey?
I couldn't quite tell.
He left the Garb on the bottom of the deck, so he either chose a different card or he chose the Deancey.
Yeah, he's only really going to need the Deancey during the Sledgehammer turn if Jeff doesn't send up a Zoroark, because Zoroark will be just knocked out by a
he's
Sledgehammer.
going to KO all this stuff, pretty much.
Another thing in Jeff's list, we see no weakness policy, which is a thing some Zoroark decks have been playing, and I'm sure he is wishing for it right now.
Yeah.
Cynthia off the... I think he mallowed for that last turn, so we got the 1 damage counter from the Shrine of Punishments. Can't forget that.
Yeah.
So 6 new cards here. He's going to need to find a double colorless energy, need to find some more basics. There's a chance Jeff isn't even able to knock out this Garbodor this turn. And while the Garbodor...
I mean, the Sudowoodo's on the board.
Oh, yeah, fair.
I don't know how he knocks out the Garbodor this turn.
Yeah, he would have needed to play a Professor Kukui.
He's gonna need a lot of stuff.
Can't even knock it out this turn, it doesn't look like. Looks like there's a Slugma maybe in his hands. No, he doesn't play... that must be a Buzzwole. Does get another Zoroark.
He's like, what we got to do is trade more. We need cards.
Oh, I don't see an energy quite.
Yeah, if he whiffs the energy, yes, he's got a Tapu Lele and a Tapu Koko and a Buzzwole in his hand. But he's like, I don't have the energy. Why would I bench all this stuff?
So it's interesting. He does play his own Buzzwole from Forbidden Light. So he could have maybe tried to set something up where he was using the Buzzwole this turn to knock out the Garbodor for 120, but that just unfortunately didn't happen.
Right.
So just a pass. No energy from Jeff. No Shrine damage. He was able to bump the Shrine, which is good. And Alex here is going to have some decisions to make. How does he want to progress this turn?
Does he have switch effects besides Guzma?
It doesn't look like it in his list right now.
Yeah, I mean, once he... I think that's one of the interesting challenges of this format. Without Floatstone, I mean, you want to get the Koko out for these Zoroark decks. We talked a little about that last game. I mean, some people are even upping their Koko counts to 2 because you need to be able to find switching effects.
Sure. So Alex here, looks like he's using Smooth over. I'm going to put a card on top. Looks like he's eyeing up maybe a Guzma, but looks like he chose something else. Not quite sure what it was. We'll have to see next turn. And even though this Garbodor is not knocking out this Zoroark, he's still hitting it for a lot of damage. And like we said, with that Sudowoodo out, Jeff's going to need to play Professor Kukui and fill his bench up to 4 total to get a knockout.
He smooths over and he realizes, oh, I didn't want to throw that card away.
Well,
second card was the Garbodor.
Yeah, second card he didn't want to necessarily get rid of. But definitely wants to get that Shrine of Punishments out.
Yeah, yeah. He was like, oh man, that was not what I wanted to Acrobike into.
Yeah.
It happens.
It does definitely happen.
It happens. And then he lilies and draws like 2 Buzzwoles right off the top. It's like, that was not the card I wanted to lily into. Why couldn't that have been 1 card higher?
Alright, so up to 120 damage on the active. 10 damage goes to the bench. There's a couple basics. He actually, if he can draw double colorless energy, he has Lele and Rockruff in his hand, so he could use Lele to find the Kukui, bench the Rockruff, and that would let him knock this Garbodor out. Looks like he's going to trade the Lele away. Second trade, gets rid of a Lily. Finds a double colorless so he can at least attack this turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is he's trying to figure out what am I going to do if I kill this Garbodor, and then he brings up Buzzwole and starts sledgehammering me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got to have a plan to knock out that Buzzwole, and it's going to require taking care of the Sudowoodo, right?
Acerola's big here. He does have that Buzzwole in his hand, so if he has a fighting energy, Alex is still at 4 prizes. He could knock out the Garbodor with a sledgehammer. I'm not quite sure I see a fighting energy in his hand, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that Buzzwole.
Although Alex is holding the Deancey, he would just bench the Deancey and sledgehammer back.
Well, yeah, but it's better than
Yeah.
attacking with a Zoark active.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like he's just going to hit this Garbiter for 100 here. I don't know, maybe you could have even gone for Flying Flip or something that turn. You would have knocked out the Buzzwole on the bench.
Yeah,
spread
that would
20s
that would set up
everywhere
your
else.
numbers to work around the Sudowoodo out.
But that also would have put him on Sledgehammer because he's knocking out the Buzzwole. So maybe he's trying to play around with that, which makes sense.
Right.
Which makes sense. He wants to have control over when Alex is going to get.
Oh wait, so if
Sledgehammer.
he's got 100 here, so his plan is to flip the next turn and skip the Sledgehammer turn.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right?
Then. Yeah.
That's the play.
So he'll be
That's
able
a good play.
Yeah, that's a really smart play actually. He's
This
gonna
guy's
go
good
down
at
to 3.
Pokemon. What up? Get it, Jeff.
So we'll see here. Looks like a smooth over. Kui's going to draw him those cards. Looks like he drew a switch and can go for a swing around here.
Ooh, that's a pretty switch.
Yeah, nice secret rare switch there. Gonna use swing around. I believe he will need. Well, after the shrine damage, won't even need a heads. Just is able to take the knockout.
It's like
there.
I'll roll.
I'll flip anyway, right? So there we go, 2 prizes, and this is definitely looking a little bleak for Jeff. He can, if he doesn't put any GXs in play, he can just flying flip for the knockouts. But there comes a Zoroark right there. Looks like he's gonna trade. Oh, debating it.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a supporter he wants to play first. I'm not sure.
So young trainers at home, Jeff's doing 2 things that I like. First is keep track of his trades by tilting his Pokemon, which is best practice. The second thing that he does that I always like is he puts his hand down during his opponent's turn and watches his opponent. I think that's a skill that many junior and senior players they get so caught up in thinking about what they're going to do when it's their turn. It's like people talking over people,
He plays Kukui, does find Devoured Field, so the replacement stadium is nice, but I didn't see an energy. Could be a tough, if Jeff can't attack this turn, I think this game may just be over in Alex's
Yeah, they could
favor.
spiral out of control. I mean, Alex has enough cards that he goes for the stall play, but I suspect Alex's hand is big enough that the stall play is not going to fix his problems.
Yeah, Alex hasn't played very many Guzmas at this point yet. He does still have a second switch in the deck.
Yeah, he's counting the Guzmas now. He's like, you played any Guzmas? You haven't, darn it.
He actually could. No, he would need a double Colorless Energy, and with the Devour Field, could knock out the Mag Cargo, doing 90 exactly. But I don't see the energy card, unfortunately. Looks like he's debating a Rescue Stretcher. Gonna go ahead and play the Devoured Field, though.
Right. It's funny, I mean, there might have been an argument in the past for holding it for a more meaningful moment, but nobody's gonna Sycamore away one of their stadiums in this new format. So you never think, well, maybe he'll throw away one of his shrines, and then I'll get ahead in the stadium more. That thing just doesn't happen anymore.
I think Alex actually top-decked the Guzma for the turn, so able to get out of this Mag Cargo in the active. I like Jeff's play, though, of leaving the Zoroark in the active spot so that
right, so you can't Guzma
it up. Yeah, exactly.
Guzma it up and take a knockout or swing around.
We're going to see a smooth over here. Looks like he's grabbing a Shrine of Punishments for the next turn. Maybe just wants to start ticking away now that there's 2 GXs on Jeff's side of the field.
I mean, he could. I haven't seen his hand, but he could easily have an Acro Bike or something that lets him.
Yeah, he could even find it this turn.
That off
for sure.
I mean, he's got a big enough hand. He just takes the knockout on the Coco because he knows that flying flip's a threat, so he kills the Coco. He's happy to do it.
Also, just goes down to 1 prize card here. So
right.
If Jeff ever benches a Rockruff or a Zorua, it's easy pickings from there.
Yeah, well, and if he can't take a double knockout with the flying flip, the Sledgehammer turn gives him the ability to KO Zoroark or Buzzwole.
Absolutely. There's going to be a Zorua here. And yeah, this is, at this
point...
He
has the Diancie just sitting in his hand. Right.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah, this is looking pretty bleak for Jeff. And yeah, Jeff's just going to go ahead and concede this
Jeff
one,
says, oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I think... Oh, it looks like he had a couple energies prized. So there was a couple turns there where Jeff didn't find his energy cards, and I think that ended up mattering a lot.
Yeah, if he had found the DCE for that flying flip play and skipped the Sledgehammer turn and gone into 3 prizes, it would have been 3-3, and that swing around Buzzwole would be the only threat on the board. We might have had a game there for a hot second.
Yeah, that definitely could have been a really big turn for Jeff. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out in his favor.
It's interesting. I think one of the things that maybe conventional wisdom would have had you expect to see in the last game, and once again, while Alex won this game versus Connor losing, the shrines didn't really meaningfully move the needle.
Yeah, there was only a couple of damage counters on Zoroark at a time. It meant that he didn't have to flip heads on his swing around that one turn, but
Right.
he did flip heads anyway.
But
so,
but you're gonna
like-
flip 2 coins, you flip heads anyway. You're like, oh hey, math.
Yeah,
The odds were not bad for me to find a way there. 75% chance of getting there, right?
yeah. I think both these players played the matchup pretty well. We saw. I mean, Alex. I think he's definitely tested his deck against Zoroark decks, so he knew, hey, I want to get the Sudowoodo out. The Slugma and Magcargo lines are very important for me, so he definitely prioritized getting the Slugma back after Magcargo got knocked out. So he definitely knows what he's doing here. But Jeff also set himself up well for this game. He just didn't end up drawing the cards he needed at the time he needed them.
Right. Right.
So going into this second
Jeff
game here,
realized he lost control of counting.
making sure we've got 7 in our opening hands.
Yeah. He tried to do 4 and 3 and did 5, and then realized he had to do 2, and was like, "This is chaos."
So game 2 underway. Jeff starts a Zorua, and Alex starts that Buzzwole, and that is definitely not good if you're Jeff, because it's very easy for this Zorua to get knocked out on turn 1.
Yeah, exactly. The Zorua has 60 hit points, and it's fighting weak. Buzzwole hits for 30.
Yep.
If he wants to try to evolve to Zoroark's next turn, he's going to have 1. It's going to be that much trickier. And he has no way to retreat. I mean, he's going to have to attach a DCE and discard it if he wants to get that Zorua out of the way. Zorua 2 retreat? Or 1?
Zorua has 1, yeah.
1, all right.
Zorua does have 1.
But that means if his plan was to get a Rockruff out and attach to it, like if he wants to save Zoruas, it's going to be pricey.
Yeah, Nestball here. Looks like he's eyeing up Rockruff or Zorua.
I think he's eyeing up
there.
a Tapu Lele for an Apricorn Maker or a Pokemon fan club, and he's going to get a bunch of Pokemon out.
Looks like he had the fan club near the front.
Because he's got a lot of Pokemon out.
So,
Here comes more stuff.
yeah.
Lele, fan club, Coco, Rockruff.
And you know, I don't know how. I mean, you definitely want the free retreat option with Coco, and the flying flip can be good. We saw how it almost came into play last game. But at the same time, like, you have to assume this active Zorua is going to get knocked out.
Yeah,
You
well,
have to-
I
you
think
want
he's thinking.
Zoroarks in play.
I think he's thinking that Zora's going to get knocked out. And I'm going to have to put something up, but I don't know what my board state's going to look like what I'm going to draw into after I play my draw supporter next turn. Does he attach to the Rockruff? Oh, I see. He's got a DCE instead of a fighting energy, so he's like kind of stuck.
Yeah, it looks like
He's
he's
like-
going to opt not to attach.
Yeah.
it.
I think he's. Would you attach the DC to Rockruff, or would you just chill?
It would depend on the rest of the hand. Like, if you knew you had an out to Lycanroc plus a supporter plus, like,
Yeah.
maybe Kukui in your hand
So
or
let's
something.
say
I don't
let's
know.
say you just had a supporter. Let's say the Cynthia DCE. We see the hammer. We see what is that? We see a devoured field that he's chilling with.
I honestly
So let-
wouldn't have hated to see him even attach it to the Tapu Lele and look to maybe Energy Drive and, like, hit this Buzzwole for a little bit next turn, because the Buzzwole's not going to be able to do too much to the Tapu Lele unless he found, like, his
That's
Beast
fair.
Energy.
That's
So
fair.
I could see, like, maybe trying to set up a 2-shot with Tapu Lele, but he's going to leave himself that option for the next turn. You know, he'll be able to send up Coco, assuming this this Zorua doesn't.
I actually like that because then your plan is to 2-hit the Buzzwole, and then you could get a Zorua instead of a Coco.
Yeah.
And keep developing your board behind the Tapu Lele wall instead of saying like I'm going to put this free retreater up that's fighting weak and chill and see how it goes.
Yeah. Alex right away going for that Sudowoodo, so he knows that that is really important for him in this matchup. It seems
Yeah.
like he's tested against Zoroark decks enough to know I really need this Sudowoodo. It's going to be important for me to have success this game. Ooh, Lily for 7 cards. Pretty solid draw, if you ask me. First turn gets to draw up to 8. I did see a fighting energy. Yeah, that Zorua is going down.
Yeah.
Shrine of Punishments will tick away on the Lele.
Yeah, prioritizing the Coco is tough to do. Like it's nice to give you a pivot point at this stage in the game, but it would have been good if he could have just seen ahead a little bit. He gets a Zoroark, so he's probably thinking he's going to go down the Zoroark path now. The problem is with Sudowoodo out, he has no scenario where he takes a knockout this turn unless it's Guzma Sudowoodo, right? Or
Yeah, I
Slugma.
mean, he did play Kukui this turn, so if
Oh,
he
that's
found
right.
another basic and a devoured
Ah.
field, he could take a knockout on this
I'm
Buzzwole.
bad at Pokemon. I dig it.
So I think he did have a Nestball in his hand, and if he has the devoured field, he should be able to pull this off. There's the Nestball. Probably just going to get another Zorua here. You definitely want your Zoroark draw engine set up,
Yeah, and he's gonna want more than one Zorua.
for sure. So now if he has a Devoured Field in his hand, he will be able to take a knockout on Buzzwole. And that actually puts Alex in kind of an awkward spot. He doesn't have anything great to promote. With no Floatstone in the format anymore, he's going to have to commit to either a Switch or a Guzma in order to move whatever he promotes to the active.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, right? Obviously, as you said, he grabbed the Sudowoodo. He prioritized the Sudowoodo in this matchup. I wonder if that's a little greedy. Like,
yeah,
I know the last game went so smoothly for him, but there's a little bit of a reach.
Ooh, there is the Devoured Field.
He had the Devoured Field in hand.
Nice.
Right? We talked about that when he was shuffling his hand last turn. Takes the knockout, and I think the good news for Alex is he runs 2 switches. Has he played one of them already this game? No,
not yet.
That was last game.
Yep.
So he's got ways to get Pokemon out of the active.
And we see it right there, right
there you
away.
Go.
Has looks like a basic fighting in his hand as well, so he can start attacking the Zoroark. Yeah, I mean, I understand Alex's play of getting the Sudowoodo, right? It's like a lot to ask for that your opponent, with their field of just one Zorua, one Zoroark, would find Devoured Field, Kukui, plus 2 more basics.
Right.
It just happened that Jeff was able to get there.
Yeah.
And and if he was to get something besides the Sudowoodo, it's much easier for Jeff to get the knockout then, because he just needs one more basic. As
prioritizing knocking out Buzzwoles becomes so important in this game. Watching, you've seen people up there Kukui counts just left and right.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he is going to go ahead and get the Diancie here with the Ultra Ball, so he can hit for more damage, and Smooth Over looks like it puts a Cynthia on top to have a supporter next turn. So he'll be able to hit for 100 here, which is pretty solid on a 130 HP basic non-GX attacker. Acrobike can get him the Cynthia. He just discards another Cynthia.
He's like, what is this madness?
Yep. So he'll be able to still play a supporter, but has to at the cost of discarding another one. Unfortunately.
That is funny. One of the things that I think has been interesting about this format is Acrobikes are like a super great card in this format because the draw supporters are kind of nerfed, and you see a lot of decks playing Macargo. Acrobike lets you smooth over and get that card in this turn, and it's like an out to draw if you're struggling to draw earlier mid-game. It's a fantastic card, but you hate when you have bad Acrobikes.
For sure. Good draw there from Alex. Is able to find the Shrine of Punishments. Gets rid of the Devoured Field, so now Jeff's going to need a lot of cards to respond to this Buzzwole. He does play multi-switch in his deck, so there's a chance he could pull something off with Lycanroc this turn. With just one trade set up right now, it's going to be kind of hard. Yeah, he does have Acerola, though.
Yeah, he does not have the multi-switch in hand at the moment, though, it looks like.
Yeah, this could be a turn where he just picks up the Zoroark with Acerola and maybe just comes up and uses Energy Drive, potentially. He could even get another trade out of this with the Acerola. We'll have to see. He could even set up a Flying Flip this turn.
He's thinking about playing that Acerola.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his other options are as far as supporters go. That might be his actual only supporter in his hand.
Yeah.
So it looks like he is going to go ahead and heal that damage off, which I do like.
He's going to put the Coco up, evolve the Zoroark, and trade, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Rebench the Zorua. Trade that Choice Band, because why would you hold the Choice Band and then see where you get, right?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to trade the Rockruff. He doesn't want to put too many items in the discard pile, still being conscious of Trash Lanch.
Right.
And he does have, I think he has 3 DCE in his hand right now.
Oh, it's really rough.
He couldn't find any energy cards last game, and then now this game, they're just all clogging his hand up.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to go with the Flying Flip strategy and put those 20s everywhere.
I don't want to say it was the great ball, but Jeff has struggled to develop his board relative to the games that we watched in round 2. I think this is a valuable part of watching the stream, right? You're getting to see how different lists perform in very similar circumstances at the top tier of player talent. So this is probably good information.
Absolutely.
Wow, the stream's so good. People love the stream. So educational.
We see Smooth Over come out, put a card on top. I think Alex had a Lily in his hand, so he can draw a couple cards, one of them being the one on top. Actually, looks like it was the only card he could draw with Lily. And ends up being a good one. Gets the switch and has the Beast Energy to put on the Buzzwole. And this is going to do... this is going to be able to knock out this Coco and put a lot of pressure on Jeff.
His plan was to knock it out.
Yep.
Yeah. Now he's got to commit to putting a Zoroark up and think about going into whether or not he wants to try to take a knockout and go into Sledgehammer. But once again, he doesn't seem ready for Alex to start Sledgehammering.
Yeah, going into Sledgehammer with a Zoroark active is definitely a scary thing. He did top deck that Buzzwole, though, so maybe if with a Kukui and a Fighting Energy, he could have pulled something off, but he didn't have it in play, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, is he on Sledgehammer turn? I mean, he could Guzma Sudowoodo, he could Guzma Diancie, he could Guzma Macargo. Like, there's a lot of plays for him to make. You can tell he's thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, this is a key moment for him. Yeah. Where he's got to kind of make the right decision to keep this game from going off the rails.
Yeah, going into Sledgehammer with a Zoroark active is almost a death sentence at this point.
Yeah,
like
he's not going to be able to bench another Pokemon after he plays one more Pokemon down. So he's got to kind of make the right call here. He's got a bunch of DCs and no Fighting Energy in hand.
I think I do see a Fighting Energy at the back of his hand. Yeah,
oh, all right.
He's going to trade here. Let's see. Yeah. He's looking for potentially a Guzma. If he found it, that would be huge here.
I think he's going to try to Sledgehammer the Buzzwole.
Yeah, well, he can't.
But,
he would have to Guzma.
He can't switch.
Yeah, he would have to Guzma. Switch. That was what he was looking for, I believe. Yeah. So he has another Zoroark, though. He has Mallow in his hand, so it's like a tough call. Do you Mallow get 2 guaranteed cards you know you want, or do you try to get that Guzma here? And I think at this point, Jeff is behind. He needs to say, I need to play to a little bit more of an unlikely out. Maybe need to play to be a little
Ultra Ball Lycanroc?
He could go Ultra Ball, Lycanroc.
But then how does he switch?
Yeah, he can't switch his own Pokemon.
I just don't think you want to get that Zoroark Sledgehammered.
Yeah, he's eyeing up Lele. He could find Guzma with Lele, but then because of Sudowoodo, wouldn't be able to bench the Buzzwole anymore.
Yeah. Is he just realizing that? I don't know. I assume
he might just be thinning a Pokemon out of his deck that he could like trade away or something like that. There's the Fighting Energy and the Buzzwole. He's really looking for a Guzma.
Yeah, I mean, he really wants a Guzma. Is he got blinders on for a second?
So I think what he might do here is he might put the Lele in his hand, trade, and then if he doesn't find the Guzma, oh no, looks like he's going to go ahead and play it.
He's just going to go.
So what he could have potentially done is just put the Lele in his hand, then trade. If he didn't find the Guzma, then you have the Lele to find a different supporter maybe this turn. But no, looks like he's just going to go ahead and
grab the Guzma.
Grab Guzma. He can Guzma and knock out Sudowoodo with the other Zoroark, but then you're leaving your Zoroark active going into Sledgehammer. And that just,
and you're not taking advantage of the Sledgehammer turn. Like this, he's got the Buzzwole and the Fighting Energy in hand. It's a hard, I think I would have traded for the YOLO before I filled that last bench spot and just prayed.
It was definitely a tricky spot for Jeff.
Super difficult moment.
We'll see what he ends up Guzmaing up here. Maybe once again, I mean, Alex has played 2 switch cards, so maybe he's trying to stall for a little bit, try to set something else up.
He's taking a knockout on the Diancie.
Take the knockout, which I do like. Like, if you're going to knock something out, I mean, I don't know. Basically, all the Pokemon on Alex's bench are threatening to you in some way. Like, you want to take out the Sudowoodo.
Yeah, the Macargo's bad, the Sudowoodo's bad. I mean, there's a lot of good Pokemons in Alex's deck. Yeah. Who would have thunk it? One of the best players in the world plays a deck filled with good Pokemon? And the Pokemon he's playing in this matchup are good in this matchup?
See Cynthia here. We'll draw him 6 cards. Is going to be able to easily knock this Zoroark out because Jeff is at 4 prizes and the Claws of Sledgehammer. If your opponent's at 4 prizes, it does 30 damage plus 90 more damage. More than enough to take out this Fighting Weak Zoroark.
Yeah. I mean, this baby Buzzwole, as people describe it, is I think really shifted the meta in Pokemon.
Ever since the card came out, it's had a huge impact on the format in many ways. We saw that first regionals, it was legal. Igor won with 4 of them or 3 of them in his deck, I believe. Yeah. We saw it have a huge impact at Worlds. This Buzz Garb Shrine deck became popular at Worlds, and it seems like it's even survived rotation thanks to Magcargo.
Yeah.
And just having solid matchups against things like these Zoroark decks.
I mean, I remember when, early in our Pokemon days, people were obsessed with Hawlucha. And they're like, the ability to have 1 energy attacker that does 70 damage is amazing. A baby Buzz that can do 120 damage at a key moment in a game, especially in what had previously been, and obviously what still is now, a very Zoroark heavy meta, is a full-on revolution.
So Alex does take the KO. Jeff is just left in a terrible position here. Items are starting to pile up. The shrine damage is starting to pile up. It's gonna be
I mean, I think the real problem is he's not been able to keep an attacker on the board, so he hasn't had a turn to attach energy to Rockruff.
Right.
Like that Rockruff is just not threatening until it gets an energy on it, and you can evolve Lycanroc and start claw slashing or a dangerous rogue for a knockout. I don't know how he gets off the sledgehammer turn.
Yeah, he's eyeing up, I think, with this Mallow. Looks like at least a Lycanroc. So he could Lycanroc something up, use DCE, knock out Sudowoodo maybe, but then, I mean, Alex isn't immediately going to be able to knock out the Zork, but he's going to do a ton of damage to it with the Beast Energy, and Shrine is just going to keep ticking away.
Wait, so I'm sorry, so what can he knock out this turn if he's already played a Mallow?
He can use Lycanroc's Bloodthirsty Eyes,
Oh, right.
bring up...
Bloodthirsty Eyes up something, and then DC kill it. Fair, that's fair.
So it looks like he did eye up DC, and I think the Lycanroc...
Yeah.
I like how he pointed the Lycanroc like it was a Guzma.
Exactly. This is my second supporter for turn. Yeah. And he gets off the sledgehammer turn.
He does. And yeah, Kukui, Alex set up the Kukui last turn. The Mag Cargo
Smooth over the skills.
Will be the damage he needs to get the knockout on that Zoroark. And a quick, pretty convincing 2-0 here from Alex Schemanske against Geoff Sauk.
I mean, it's obviously, this is what people were expecting those Buzzgarb Shrine decks to do against Zoroark. You did not see it in round two. Round two, you were like, wow, why would anyone play